Help support Friendo Club by going to patreon.com/Steven Larson or clicking join at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Access to bonus episodes, question threads for the Going In Raw podcast, and entry to our monthly wrestling predictions challenges. Join the Friendo Club today. Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the biggest creative blunder in the history of Triple H's short time as chief content operator, officer guy at WWE, came in the form of The Rock. And, wait.
What?
What are you doing here? Why are you here? I'm supposed to be over at my desk on Zoom.
It's because I got no power at my house.
Yeah, we got big storms over here in Northern California.
We do light pole. Sorry, not a light pole, power line pole.
Yeah.
A little bit north of my house, snapped in 3 pieces. I got no power.
Were you so upset that Cody Rhodes has been yanked from the main event of WrestleMania that you took
through the power of telekinesis?
We want Cody. We want Cody. Anyways.
Yeah, I said, whoa!
No.
And like a primal scream. And then, yeah, every power line up and down my road, pyro like he has.
Well, anyways, welcome back to the Friendo Club wrestling set. You're here once a week at least. Anyways,
exactly.
So another storm came through Stanford and ran all over Triple H's plans for WrestleMania as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, of course now I think a board member at TKO Holdings,
that's correct.
Is that right? Decided to assert himself, much in the same way he tried to assert himself as Black Adam in the DC Comics cinematic universe.
Could be some parallels here,
yeah.
maybe.
Anyways, this was a huge deal on Friday,
It
but
was.
yeah, you know, we sit back, we watch what's going on, and then we decide, hey, on Monday, we're going to give you guys the full picture. There's a lot.
There is a lot
to digest here,
and a lot of information to get through.
Kind of felt like I don't know, you know, unless it's something huge like, you know, Vince McMahon resigning, emergency things aren't really our deal anymore.
Yeah, so, and like there was something, I feel like something going on Friday night. I could be wrong.
Oh, I was out drinking.
Steve was out drinking.
Yeah, that was going on. But yeah, no, there's a lot to get through because the shifting narrative seemingly of like what was the plan. You know, from, for example, the moment Dwayne Johnson stepped foot in as TKO board member guy with his new fancy contract back on January 3rd, through the Rumble to where we are now with the big fan backlash. There's a lot to get through, Larson. So where do you want to start here?
So let's start, I guess, Saturday, because that's when the first reports started coming in following what happened on Smackdown. So to recap, seemed like Cody Rhodes, he won the Rumble.
Yeah,
he was going to finish his story, beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. The opportunity for him was right there.
He pointed at Roman, and he said his name.
I said, I want you, Roman.
Roman Reigns, I choose you.
I want you. But at the end of SmackDown, Cody comes to the ring and said, I've sought counsel about what I should do, who I should choose, even though it seemed like he already chose Roman. And he introduces The Rock. And then Cody, although he didn't seem terribly happy about it, seemingly stepped aside and allowed The Rock to confront Roman Reigns and potentially set up your WrestleMania 40 main event. So,
which has not actually been made official yet. There's a Las Vegas event Thursday, a big press event that Cody will be there for, but also The Rock and Roman Reigns are going to be there.
Seth Rollins is going to be there too.
And Seth Rollins is going to be there.
So PW Insider had an extensive report Saturday as to why the change was made. And there is a lot here. So we'll go through paragraph by paragraph, take a break, discuss things, and return to it. Not only PW Insider, Fightful has information mentioned before. Dave Meltzer had some too.
Those other guys.
Yeah, let's start with PW Insider. This is what they had to say. Quote, numerous WWE sources have concurred that the decision to go with The Rock versus Roman Reigns Mania weekend, expect to be officially announced Thursday in Las Vegas for the Philly event, was a push by The Rock to move into the Mania main event, backed by top TKO group holding execs. While WWE has been expertly building to a Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns rematch, would you agree with that expertly?
I think there's been a focus. Whether or not it's been like the most compelling thing in the world is debatable, but I think there's been a focused.
There's been a plan.
Yeah.
Anyways, PW Insider continues. Some sources believe it was done by Johnson to, as one source stated, save WrestleMania. After CM Punk and Brock Lesnar, for very different reasons, were taken off the board from the biggest weekend of the year. Yes, Steve.
If I'm not mistaken, before Dwayne The Rock Johnson showed up, even before CM Punk showed up, even without Brock Lesnar around, what was it that Triple H kept on talking about? Sellout after sellout after sellout, biggest event after biggest event after biggest event. It seems... Yes, Larson, you have a question now.
WrestleMania has already sold over 50,000 tickets per night already.
It's going to sell out.
Regardless if Dwayne is there or not.
Like, it's, yeah. Yeah. They're doing pretty damn good already.
Yes.
I don't know if it needed to be saved. Now,
I don't think so.
If you're asking about added value...
Well, is there a European tour after WrestleMania? That's the question, Steve. That is such an obscure reference.
Such a deep cut, and one we might not be able to make anymore.
That's true.
So anyways, PW Insider continued. While WWE had been expertly... Oh, wait, did I already get that one?
No, this is different.
Okay. While WWE had been
Oh, no, yeah, sorry. So go to with.
With. Where am I with?
Oh, got
with
it.
Johnson's power as a member of the TKO board of directors, his Hollywood standing, and the backing of Ari Emanuel, he's the head guy at Endeavor,
Yeah.
Nick Khan, executive at WWE, and others, the decision was made to go with Rock versus Reigns as the headline bout, believing it would be a greater attraction for the mainstream and also help push some positive momentum for the company. PWInsider.com is told this wasn't done to target and politic Cody out of his main event out of malice, but out of the belief that Johnson was the best idea to make money now and respect his new position with the company's parent company. This was a strategic move to give Johnson more political power overall and to show Endeavor's faith in his involvement, and that even Paul Levesque, Triple H, who has done an admirable job as the chief creative officer, would, quote, lose that power struggle with Johnson at this point, as one source surmised. Speaking of Triple H, as for him losing some leverage within creative, PW Insider notes, one source confirmed to PW Insider that former senior vice president of development at Johnson's 7 Bucks Productions, Brian Gewirtz, who was head writer of Raw between 1999, or he was a writer with Raw between 99 and 2009. At one point, he was head writer.
Yeah.
Will be in the mix as the voice representing Johnson in the WWE creative process going forward. There are some who believe Gewirtz, who at one point was the longest tenured WWE head writer, one of the longest tenured WWE head writers, will be around physically, at least for major shows going forward, could even be there as a plan B if Endeavor ever needs to pivot WWE's direction and go with a Johnson-backed creative team down the line. Let's pause that really quick, and that sounds like super agenda getting out there thing. Because if the idea is, Triple H, you have a problem with this, well, then we can replace you with Brian Gewirtz, who is intimately familiar with how WWE works. And that, I think, is one thing that we all need to keep, as fans, need to keep in mind, is whenever, if it's a PW Insider, a Dave Meltzer, a House of Wrestling, a whoever, and I'm omitting Sean from this, Sean Ross Sapp from this, there are a lot of agendas out there.
We said that many, 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 many times. Yeah.
As people who do this for a living, we take other reportings and we regurgitate them for our audience. We are also, like, one of our responsibilities, I think, is to sort of, because we have to pay so close attention to this, try to parse, like, okay, this might be some BS. This might be some BS. There's some fire to this. There's some fire to that.
Totally.
The thing that I like so much about Sean Ross Sapp is he really gets a wide variety of perspectives and offers that up. And that's what I appreciate so much more about Fightful than pretty much anybody else. So, yeah, I mean, look, there's an advertisement for FightfulSelect.com for you if you want. But that's, you know, and you can say what you will about, I know a lot of people quibble about how Sean handles himself on social media, and I get that. But he's a friend of the show.
He is.
And he is really, really terrific at what he does. He is. All them scoops and getting reactions. He absolutely is. Nobody else comes close to me, to be honest.
Getting to the idea that there is seemingly maybe a bit of a power struggle now that Dwayne is a board member, because that seems to be the indication here potentially. And there's more further down here which could substantiate that more, including something here from Fightful. where it could be a situation where, given the Vince McMahon WWE John Laurinaitis lawsuit,
Yeah.
and who knows if the motivation for anything that happened over the course of the weekend regarding Rock taking on Roman is an effort to, in the eyes of WWE, TKO, kind of refocus the narrative on Rock Roman.
Yeah.
And whether it's some fans' excitement for it or some fans' absolute lack of excitement for it at this point, rather than having people focus on the lawsuit. I've seen that speculated upon.
Sure.
I've seen even from some outlets that being speculated upon that could be a distinct possibility.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we'll get too further down here too, if it was literally part of Rock's deal to come aboard the TKO board to not just have a match. I've heard both have a match this year, and it was specifically a WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
And then now if he's being backed in an effort to wield some measure of power, which could be greater than or equal to the power that Triple H has.
Yeah.
You know, as we saw with The Rock when he was trying to, you know, assert control over the DC universe.
Yeah.
And how that turned out, as we've seen how he, and I know you mentioned this on Twitter over the weekend, how he has micromanaged a good portion of his career, especially of late, as it relates to the Fast and the Furious franchise, where they're like negotiating how many punches people can land on each other in fight scenes.
It's very, and according to one of, I think it was, because I did a couple videos on this, just sort of goofing around on Wrestle Juice this weekend, making that extra change.
You got to do it.
One of the commenters there, or maybe no, it was on the Twitter, the tweet that I had.
Yeah.
Mentioned he didn't pioneer that, but he ran with it once he saw that they were doing that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, so I want to do this really quick here. So there's a big section about what does the future hold for Cody. Let's hold off on that for a second, because Fightful had some additional details before we talk more about this, and then we'll talk about my boy Cody.
Yeah.
So Fightful Select reported additional details, noting that while nothing has been officially announced and that plans can change, as of now, the plan for Mania is Rock versus Roman and Cody versus Seth. According to Fightful, those that we've spoken to said that The Rock had not only pushed to work the match, some thought he was even pushing to win the match. Yes, Larson.
If you remember that interview you did a while back talking about the possibility of why Rock Roman didn't happen in the past, subtextually he was saying that he wanted to win that match and that he got pushed back. It was pretty clear that he thought he should win.
It seemed like, from my reading of it, it felt like he wanted to replicate the once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime thing, but with Roman. He wins first, then Roman beats him. So continuing on with this. Regardless of what the finish will be, multiple sources say that they viewed this as a political move that TKO believes will result in more immediate money than what would have been with Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. Fightful also confirmed that Brian Gewirtz will play a role in The Rock's creative. There was and Fightful Select, and I'm glad you didn't put it all here, because people, you know, they have good staff there. They do good work. Yeah. They deserve that $5 a month is worth it if you enjoy listening to the backstage stuff.
Absolutely.
But one of the other things I picked out, or I noticed from the Fightful Select report, was The Rock is a very charming person. Yeah. And he's very friendly. Yeah. Like in person. Evidently, if you're Logan Paul and you fuck up, you know, he wants nothing to do with you. But that's neither here nor there. I probably wouldn't either, to be honest with you. But again, the idea that this is not out of malice to Cody Rhodes, but it is to possibly satisfy some incentive requirements in his contract, where he'd get paid out that full amount,
$30 million,
if he steps into the ring. Yeah. And potentially at WrestleMania. Yeah. It seems self-serving for a guy who already has a lot. Yeah. So the question of motive, like, you know, he's obviously a very ambitious guy. Yeah.
Whose career of late, I wouldn't exactly describe it as hard times, because it's not like he's struggling by a stretch of the imagination, but it's
taken some hits.
He has taken some hits over the last few years in comparison to what his career was looking like even 5, 6, 7 years ago, you know, when he was the highest paid actor in Hollywood.
He's taken some awfully big risks. Let's face it, dude. trying to wrest control of the DC cinematic universe while playing a third string villain, probably and failing in that.
Yeah.
Probably was not the way to go. He sees that there's a power vacuum of sorts in WWE with the Vince stuff, and he comes in and tries to wrest control of that.
It's I could see why someone would read it that way.
Yeah, right.
And
right.
you could read it also as TKO would be receptive of that because of the Vince stuff, and they're trying to shift attention away from it.
Now, before we talk about the future of Cody Rhodes, I want to ask you this question.
All right.
Because there is all sorts of reporting. Even Dave Meltzer sort of in a way at some points kind of contradicts himself. So I got this right here on the latest Wrestling Observer Radio. Meltzer claimed, quote, when Rock made the deal on January 3 to come in facing Roman at WrestleMania was part of the deal. Why Cody Rhodes won the Rumble is a good question that I cannot answer because nobody will answer it for me. Meltzer also added that it's possible that no one apart from Nick Khan and Ari Emanuel were aware that Rock versus Roman had been the plan for Mania since early January. That is shocking to me if true.
Yeah.
Meltzer often will speculate and that will get meshed in with the stuff that he actually knows.
Yeah.
But like, I sort of, and a little bit more of Meltzer from what I saw on Twitter anyways, and I think it was in the same radio episode, he had mentioned that this could potentially have been sort of a long game plan, knowing that the crowd would want to attempting to fabricate a Daniel Bryan situation.
With Cody,
with Cody, and not realizing that part of that, by necessity, is booing the other guy who is The Rock and them not understanding that.
Yeah.
I'll just put it this way. It seems like there are a lot of mental gymnastics being played by members of the media, and we're about to play some of those mental gymnastics.
Well, here's another thing, too, is there's probably, as we say, when some sources leak information, is to advance an agenda of they may have. And that's another thing is based on information is getting out there, whoever's leaking it could be trying to achieve a very specific purpose.
So with that in mind, having seen the entire situation play out, having read a lot of different takes and reports, where do you stand on how this all played out? What's your gut, your intuition? Let's play true wrestling detective Rhodes Country, Larson. Let's do this.
Wow.
I thought about that one during breakfast today. What do you think the most likely scenario here is?
So if it's a situation where we accept everything that has been presented to us by all the major outlets as, let's say, for the sake of this conversation, everything that they're saying is to a degree accurate.
Sure.
So basically, the idea that The Rock can't agree to this deal January 3rd to wrestle at WrestleMania, and that plan wasn't relayed to anybody beyond the upper echelon and the very, very upper echelon of WWE leadership.
So, okay, I will note that Meltzer said it's possible, which is his speculation.
Well, the exact quote, I rephrase it here, was few, if any, outside of Nick Khan and Ari Emanuel were aware of it.
Jeez.
So, let's assume, again, just for the sake of the conversation, there's some accuracy to that.
Yeah.
And if the idea was that information at no point was relayed to Triple H, therefore he was going forward with his plan.
Yeah.
Cody win the Rumble facing Roman at WrestleMania, only for this all to come to a head essentially leading up to Friday's Smackdown. And for Triple H to have essentially the rug pulled out from under him, having Cody win the Rumble and then not even following through on his stated goal several times. And he, during his promo, he literally moved the goalpost to insinuate taking the title from you, Roman, is not enough.
Yeah.
I have to take everything. Subtext is, I'm not the one that can take everything from you.
Yeah.
The Rock can, because only The Rock can beat Roman for the head of the table stuff.
It was an atrocious promo.
Yes. It was all over the place.
I don't care if it was Cody, Triple H, Brian Gewirtz. I don't care who it was. That's what makes this so. Look, here's my thing is this. I'm not even necessarily opposed to Rock Roman at WrestleMania.
No. The sticking point is Cody win the Rumble.
Yeah. It is absolutely asinine for it to be Dwayne, Brian Gewirtz, their people, Ari Emanuel, Nick Khan, whoever, Triple H, whoever was involved in this, creatively speaking, this was the stupidest possible thing you could do. There is no Daniel Bryan situation here. Now, I refuse to believe that they would willingly tell a story in, like, assuming this is all a work.
Yeah.
They would tell a story that would make them look so bad and kill fan goodwill.
Yeah.
They're not going to mortgage the fan goodwill with WWE just to get Cody. Moreover, he's already spectacularly popular. And I don't think they would be so naive to do that and not understand that The Rock would be the bad guy in this situation. I don't think The Rock would want to do that.
No, I mean, given the post he put on social media following SmackDown on Friday, it didn't seem like he was positioning himself in any way as any sort of villain in the situation.
No, and it seemed kind of trollish, like his social media posts since Friday.
Yeah.
So, but I don't, maybe that is just me reading it through a certain lens. Maybe it's genuine and it just comes off trollish because of the whole situation.
Yeah.
This whole thing to me feels like as much of a mess as it seems like. It seems like whether or not, I would be kind of surprised if Rock came in January 3rd with this deal and it was decided then and they still allowed Cody to win the Rumble. That would surprise me.
Because that would mean that Triple H was out of the loop and all that.
This seems much more like there were too many, like Rock came in, they were going along their plan, they were told their plan's good, and then they just changed it kind of at the last minute and said, you know what, we'll just do a quick promo where Cody will say, now my story is taking everything away from you, which makes zero sense whatsoever. It makes no sense.
And here's another thing to consider is Roman just got done with the promo absolutely burying Seth Rollins and burying the World Heavyweight Championship.
So I'll be honest with you, that didn't bother me too much.
I know, it's in conjunction with Cody saying there, that's actually the belt I want. That's the Bruno belt. That's the belt with the legacy. I'm coming for it. And even though I have this opportunity that I'm guaranteed a chance, again, to get that belt at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I have it right there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
I know that. You're right. That's awful. I didn't. Yeah. In conjunction with Roman bearing the Seth title, that's Roman. I mean, Roman, you know, that's what he's going to do.
It is. But those two promos, those two segments back to back.
A bit much.
Not coincidental, you know?
Yeah. Let me ask you this.
Sure.
Given that there's also reports that WWE is of course, they're closely monitoring the situation.
Of course.
The crowd booed the press event graphic at both a house show and at NXT Vengeance Day last night.
I think there was at the live event like a recap of what happened on SmackDown. That got booed too.
Okay. Do you see any situation in which they pivot to bring it back to Cody versus The Rock?
I mean, it's possible if the "We Want Cody" hashtag,
which is blowing up big.
Yeah, even Logan Paul and Ricochet and Mustafa Ali and
so that's actually
in and out of WWE.
I'm glad you brought that up because two guys, Logan Paul, who by the way is like he says, I think a billionaire on paper.
Yeah,
he can. I kind of feel like Logan Paul can do what he wants, but he also might, understanding that he's really into this WWE thing, might not want to rock the boat too much. Ricochet.
Yeah.
A guy who has everything to lose.
Yeah.
Because it's not like he's a big featured name.
Seemingly, I think his contract expires this year too.
Yeah. Drop the hashtag "We Want Cody." That to me, and this is something that Dave Meltzer mentioned on Twitter, and I agree with it. They are seemingly okay with turning this into an angle if it wasn't already.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that they're going to probably have Cody give another promo endorsing The Rock. Like, that would be the most Vince thing that you could do, is basically have Cody, is double down on it, have Cody drop a promo endorsing The Rock and trying to explain his way to continue on this path of him versus Seth and Rock versus Roman.
Yeah.
Which he's an eloquent speaker. It's possible they can do this, but there's already this stain.
It is.
If they don't go back to Cody versus Roman, I don't think people are going to give a shit what he says. I don't think anybody's going to want. You know how fans are. They started a whole damn hashtag.
I know, and you know, it's the issue is that Cody wins Rumble. He has opportunity, and yet says, "Nah, I'll wait."
Yeah.
Without really a good reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's not like he can't beat Roman at Mania for the title, and then eventually they set up Rock Roman, and Cody be like, "Hey, I called Rock in here to have my back at Mania to counter the strength of the bloodline."
Yeah.
And guess what? After I take title, now that I have title, now that I'm champion, Rock's going to take everything else from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would make sense.
That would make a lot of sense.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
But to have him willingly step aside,
yeah,
when he has this opportunity that he spent his entire tenure at WWE so far striving for, his second chance at this, no less.
Yeah.
Where it seems like, I know it seemed like last year the crescendo was there for him to win. This year it seems like he's actually going to win.
Yeah, right.
Could have been proven wrong, but I don't know how they have Cody lose 2 years in a row.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And from a fan's vantage point, to see all that, and if he gets on the mic and goes, "Hey, listen," and he lays it out even more clearly than he did on SmackDown, people still aren't going to buy into it because they want Cody to be the man to beat Roman.
Yeah.
It makes sense from a storyline perspective. And I saw a lot of debate on social media because a lot of people saying, and it's true, maybe, that Rock Roman from a money-making perspective is the marquee matchup. It's arguably the top matchup they can have to headline WrestleMania to get as many mainstream eyeballs on the product and potentially make as much money as possible.
Sure, yeah.
And there's people advocating for this match to happen on those grounds.
Yeah.
Which, in a bubble, fine. Given the circumstance, though, where we have a story that they're telling with Cody and Roman, for that matter, to completely detour from that story to shoehorn this match in, you know, I think it goes to the idea of what really sells in the world of professional wrestling. Is it engaging and engrossing storylines? And as we've seen in WWE for the last year or so, as they put more focus on just logical. They're not even always engaging or engrossing. They're logical.
Yeah.
Attendance has picked up. Ratings are up. Engagement is up across social media platforms. I'm sure merch sales are up too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we saw for years where the reliance was not so much on stories, but moments, especially moments between huge stars, often part-time stars. And yeah, you get the short-term benefit, but as soon as that moment's gone, it's right back to the status quo.
The thing that's absolutely wild is they have the template in front of them that they could easily use, and it's WrestleMania 14. The two biggest names in that match, I remember that was the first pay-per-view that I paid attention to WWF.
Yeah.
And they were obviously focusing on two guys, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was not a participant in that match beyond being the special guest enforcer.
Yeah.
The other guy was the guy who was on his way out, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Yep.
And with Tyson in the mix, you could do the exact same thing with The Rock. He's there. You have Cody versus Roman with Rock as the special guest enforcer to keep the bloodline out.
Yep.
And that sets up Rock versus Roman next year.
Or even like if they want to do a SummerSlam or one of the Saudi shows, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. That match is there for them to do
anytime
for the Ula Fala.
Yeah.
You know, the tribal chief thing.
Yeah.
And instead they just want to do it now. Let's get back to is this a distraction from the Vince lawsuit thing? What are your thoughts on that?
It wouldn't surprise me if that played a part in this whole thing. You see how quickly, for the most part, the discourse around WWE shifted from the Vince lawsuit to people being upset over The Rock usurping Cody's spot at WrestleMania, seemingly. Again, nothing confirmed. You know, thankfully there are some people out there on social media, and hopefully we will try to do our part here on the show as well to not lose focus on the conversation that is really important to have, which is still the Vince lawsuit. I mean, we shouldn't even call it the Vince lawsuit. It's the Vince Laurinaitis and WWE lawsuit, and TKO doing something to address the horrible culture within WWE that existed recently in 2002, and probably still exists there.
Yeah.
To this day. And I think that it's important not to lose sight of that. And it wouldn't surprise me if this was all effort on WWE's part to shift the conversation to something else.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I honestly don't. I mean, it's probably naive to think that that wasn't part of it. But I don't know. I think there's such a world apart. Like you've got storylines in WWE that are already really popular that fans are going to be talking about anyways. So creating an outrage moment or just a wildly left turn moment just simply to do that is a little bit weird. But if the thinking was, hey, we need some positive momentum, which means shifting away from the negativity that obviously the Vince lawsuit has brought on, and I use Vince lawsuit just to keep it short.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. It's all encompassing. To sway people away from it. I don't know what the internal conversations were.
Yeah, obviously we don't. Everything is speculation.
And
obviously.
if that's the case, here is my only counter to that, and that is this lawsuit ain't going away.
Nope.
The federal investigation into Vince Laurinaitis and WWE ain't going away.
Nope.
There will be a lot of information that comes out over the span of probably like 18 months or so.
Yeah.
And so to say, okay, well, we're gonna throw the rock in there to distract everybody from this thing that will be an ongoing affair and will probably end up getting worse before it gets better.
Yeah, probably will.
To me, sounds, I don't know, a little short-sighted.
It would be incredibly short-sighted if that was in any way part of the motivation.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
But I mean, executives are sometimes just complete dullards.
Yeah.
It's just there are people who, found a way to advance in life through politicking and cutthroat deals. But like common sense sometimes can be lacking.
And as quickly as the news cycle can be.
Yeah, exactly.
They might think
shifts like that.
It really does, and they might think if they could take advantage of the quickness of the news cycle to draw attention to something else rather than this, But as I said, it's important to keep the conversation going about the lawsuit and not to get sidetracked. I know, we're a couple of dorks who like talking about the silliness of pro wrestling.
Yeah,
we had the extensive conversation on Friday's show about it, but I think it is important because. The aspects, or sorry, the allegations included in the lawsuit, it wasn't like, and not that it would make it any better, it wasn't like something that happened 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, right.
It's something, that was as recent as 2022. And again, a lot of the people that were involved in the culture that perpetuated and allowed that stuff to happen are probably still within the company, and that all needs to be addressed. And it's a serious matter that we can't lose, that fans, I think, of Pro Wrestling WWE cannot lose sight of.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk now about Cody, because where does it leave him? PW Insider adds, as far as the future for Cody, the current plan is for him to face Seth at Mania 40, a direction change that a lot of readers we've heard from resent, given that he's been pushing to finish his story all year. That finishing his story was in reach after a Rumble win, and then even the WWE 2K24 video game, which Cody is on one of the covers for, is themed in part around fans finishing their own story. For Rhodes, as a character, to then have that moment in reach and not choose Reigns for WrestleMania is as silly as Han Solo throwing away the keys to the Millennium Falcon and leaving it behind. These Gen X freaking wrestling writers beating, so you couldn't come up with anything a little more recent than that, Johnson. Beating Seth he continues. Beating Seth for a title doesn't end Cody Rhodes' story. You couldn't even use a prequel reference. Beating Seth for a title doesn't end Cody's story, especially since he's publicly stated that he needs to win the title his father held and had taken away for that story to end, and the lineage of that belt is carried by Paul Heyman to the ring for Roman Reigns in 2024. While the story was primed to climax at WrestleMania 40, there were already some in the company openly talking about the idea of Cody winning the World Heavyweight Championship and then challenging the winner of Roman versus Rock for SummerSlam in a title unification bout. Quick aside, that title will have all of 2 reigns.
Which probably thinks, it's easily fold into the other one.
Yeah. Challenging the winner of Roman versus Rock for something like Rick Rude's WCW International title.
Yeah, I know.
Roman versus Rock for SummerSlam in a title unification bout, so Cody can finally, we promise this time, finish that damn story. Yeah, I don't know about all that. I mean, when he says people are openly talking about that, that seems like, you know, it's like Rock openly talking about potentially winning the match against Roman Reigns. I just don't know about that. I don't know.
It could be a situation where people are talking about it and be like, well, I guess they could do that if they want to get there somehow.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's not like maybe it's not even concrete plans. It's literally just an idea that someone had in their mind. It's like, here, what's a quick Band-Aid we can put on this issue we have here?
Yeah.
Just have Cody beat Seth and then unify the titles at SummerSlam, even though we just had a title unification deal that we just stopped doing in May of last year.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But then again, none of this makes a lot of sense. This, you know, depending on who you believe, it seemed like a rush decision. A desperation move, maybe.
Also, you mentioned earlier the idea that people have put out there as, Rock versus Roman is the biggest match. Of course, we want to do the biggest match for business. Yes, but ESPN is, which if I'm not mistaken, is a pretty big deal.
TMZ as well.
They both had write-ups about how much of a disaster this has been from a fan perspective.
Yep.
So you're getting mainstream attention, but it's probably not the kind that you want.
No, it's not.
And I don't think this is a situation where all press is good press. I don't. If you're WWE, publicly traded company under TKO Holdings, you want positive press. You want people looking forward to what you're doing, not questioning why this is such a disaster. Like we're doing right now.
I know. Yeah. No. And all right, let me ask you this. What are the odds that they change course on this? What are the odds that they see the negative press and they see this renewed groundswell of support? Listen, I'm not even like a Cody guy.
Yeah, I know.
But I watched this and I'm like, man, Cody got a raw deal here.
You know, and I think that might be because, dude, you're not alone in that sentiment. And I feel like if it is bizarre that the guy who is so clearly and still, I think, slated to be the face of the company guy is now getting that level of, well, he's getting dicked by the company, so we're going to support him even more.
Yeah.
And so, like, there is something to be said if you're Triple H, and here's the thing, Triple H spent a long time under Vince McMahon just having to deal with Vince overriding what Triple H had set up in NXT with his wrestlers.
Yep.
And so this might just be another situation of like, well, I know Cody. He's like, Cody, go along with it because it's just going to make you more popular.
Yeah.
And it's going to make them look like assholes.
Yeah.
So, I don't know the odds that they pivot. I don't know. I don't know that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is savvy enough. I am kind of shocked that he spent, it was like between 8 and 10 years. The very first mention of him being Black Adam from him came a good like 8 years before the movie came out.
Yeah, that movie's in development for a long time.
He was pushing for that for a very long time.
Yeah.
And for him not to have read the room on how underwhelming that situation was along the way says to me that he's not terribly savvy when it comes to reading the room on fan reactions. A lot of people, you know, looked at the face of Cody Rhodes when, you know, Rock whispered to him, fuck your story, whatever he said to him.
Yeah.
It's not your time. It'll be your time next time. I promise that you'll get a lot out of this or something like that. Whatever he whispered to him.
Said, yeah.
Cody sort of did the Vince thing. He looked dejected.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then he left. And a lot of people are pointing out that The Rock's face when, and I didn't catch wind if the crowd was chanting Cody or Rocky or if it was a combination of the two. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if The Rock sits back and looks at this and he's going to think one of two things. Either we can maneuver this and still get what we want, which I think will probably be the case because he's not a man with a small ego.
Yeah.
Or he'll say, you know what? This is not going to go. History has proven this is not going to go away, and we need to give the people what they want. And on Thursday at the press event, I'm going to say I'm the special guest enforcer, or they'll do a thing. I did this silly shit on Wrestle Juice where I fantasy book 5 ridiculous things, where he'll say, Roman will say, Cody, you don't walk away from me.
Yeah.
Rock, I'll get to you when I get to you. I am your Mania match.
Yeah.
And he forces the issue,
Yeah.
and maybe then Rock becomes special enforcer or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
My gut tells me they are going to ram Rock versus Roman Reigns down our throats.
Seems like it.
I just think that's probably going to be the case.
Yeah, I think so too. I fear that's the case, but
Yeah.
we shall see. Thursday is going to be kind of a pivot point and all that if they seem to not be willing to relent on seemingly overwhelming fan sentiment that it's Cody Roman.
I think even tonight on Raw, like Cody, I'm assuming he's going to drop a promo, or they're simply going to do the Shinsuke Bull Rope because there's a Shinsuke Bull Rope match.
Yeah. Instead of addressing potentially him challenging Seth, that's entirely possible.
Because they might still be trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that you have guys like, and I don't know if Triple H stays out of it. I honestly don't know because of the Vince stuff. I just get the feeling that Triple H sits back and is like, look, man, I know it's best, but y'all figure if you guys are going to pull this power shit, I'll just be here. Because that's how he always had to be with Vince.
Yeah.
He always had to sit there and justify shit. So I imagine Heyman, I don't know. I don't even know where Roman would stand on this.
Yeah, I don't know either.
You know, he's not an unpowerful voice.
Yeah.
You got Heyman in there. You got Roman in there. You got Brian Gewirtz in there. You got The Rock in there. You got Ari Emanuel. You got Nick Khan.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Ari Emanuel saw, you know, where they were with Vince and the product, and he knighted Triple H to take care of that stuff.
I know.
So he seems to be a relatively savvy guy with monitoring, you know, fan situations. And if he sees them booing them out of the building, okay, well, you know, we're going to go back to Triple H. Triple H proven outright, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see. Remains to be seen.
Remains to be seen.
You know, I when I watched the that segment to close SmackDown in full, and seeing Cody's, especially when, because Cody comes out with his kind of, for the most part, usual kind of bluster to drop the promo explaining himself.
Yeah.
Up until he introduces The Rock.
Yeah.
And then, you know, again, I don't know if it's the moment hits him, and that's a genuine response. If there's a story trying to be told there with him seemingly getting
instant regret.
Yeah, dejected.
Yeah.
Because as soon as The Rock comes out, they kind of have a bit of a stare off, and they do the Predator handshake.
Yeah.
And that's when Rock pulls him in, whispers in his ear, and Cody listens and then kind of does a smile, and then reacts to The Rock saying something, and again it's back to dejected.
Yeah.
And he ultimately leaves seemingly completely dejected. He turns and looks at The Rock one final time before he walks up the ramp.
Yeah.
Almost like, I gave it all away. And you could watch that and think,
all the way, give it all away.
There you go.
Sorry.
Gave away his kingdom. You can watch that and think, okay, maybe there's a story playing out here. But it just kind of feels like they're going to shoehorn Rock Roman here. And they'll get around to Cody getting that title at some point.
Maybe it's a little bit of both. I mean, pro wrestling always sort of, you know, shoves both into,
absolutely,
you know, sometimes when it's at its best. I don't know.
It could be a situation where Cody took it upon himself. It was like, well, this is a situation. I got to make something out of this.
So we're about to talk about SmackDown. One thing about SmackDown that was disappointing to me about this Rock Roman stuff was that it overshadowed a brilliant segment.
It was a really good segment
with Bayley and Io Sky. And when I first noticed this on social media, I didn't watch the segment until a little bit later, but I saw it go down, and I was like, man, what a bummer that they didn't like take a longer road with this. That being said, when I watched the segment, I was like, oh my God, I've got goosebumps.
Yeah.
This played out perfectly. It really did.
It really did.
We're going to talk about that in a second, but first we want to point out this, man. We are so close.
That's 16.
We are so close. We're at 199,975 subscribers on YouTube. So for the longest time, you and I have been striving to get to 200,000 subscribers. Just an aside here to people starting up YouTube channels or interested. subscribers ain't the end all be all.
No.
It's sort of what is it? A self-indulgence. It's a vanity thing, to be honest with you.
It is.
It's not when you're starting fresh, it's not a terrible metric to understand how quickly your channel's growing.
Exactly. And how large of an audience you're building. Yes.
For an old garage sale channel like ours,
yeah,
which started off as like, behind the scenes stuff of 10 for the win 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And pivoted to gaming stuff. And then pivoted when we got laid off to more gaming stuff, and then to wrestling stuff and gaming stuff, and then just to wrestling stuff in various forms. This channel has had a very long road,
and a circuitous one.
Yeah, getting to this point. And over the past year or so, we've refocused on doing things sort of properly on YouTube, and that has paid off. We make a joke on the channel. It's a joke. It's not a joke. Of getting to these palindrome numbers.
Yeah.
199,991 is, what did you say, 16 away? Is that right?
16, yeah.
Okay, 16 away. I'm not a math guy. And so I would think...
Now it's 15. Now we're at 199,976.
I would think by tomorrow, by the time we wake up, we'll probably have passed 200,000.
It's entirely possible.
And want to say, number one, thanks to the Friendos.
Yes.
For being around. We'll actually do the celebration once we have it. So probably tomorrow during tomorrow's show. But if you haven't already, do us a solid. You could be the one to get to 200,000 and two. Yeah. Or 199,991 by hitting that subscribe button and the notify bell. We also like the likes around here. So if you hit that thumbs up, that helps a lot as well. Also, if you want another way to help support Going in Raw, Steven Larson Friendo Club, we have the Friendo Club setup, which is available at patreon.com/Steven Larson or by clicking join right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. You get bonus episodes. I meant to upload FriendoCast to yesterday. Internet went down. It's still down. Hopefully, I'll get around to uploading it later on the day. It's been filmed for like 5 days now.
Yeah, what, Wednesday or something like that?
I think so, yeah. So I should have just done it right then, but I didn't.
Things happen.
Yeah. So, bonus episodes every single week. You get access to question threads for the show and, of course, access to the Big Blue Predictions Challenge. Cameron Shank is our current Big Blue Predictions champion thanks to his win at the Royal Rumble. We've got the next week of champions coming up at the end of the month with WWE Elimination Chamber and AEW Revolution. It's a 2-event predictions challenge.
Yep.
So get in on it now. Click join at youtube.com/Steven Larson or go to patreon.com/Steven Larson and get the Friendo Club set up. Sorry, I'm distracted by my dog over here. She's doing silly things. She's on her back. One arm is like that and the other one's bent. It's weird. She's so cute, though. Anyways.
You know what she's doing.
She's stretch. All right, man. Let's dive into our Smackdown.
Let's dive into her like 40 minutes into this thing.
Yeah, otherwise, like the minus the Rock Cody stuff, that Bailey Io Sky segment I thought was absolutely awesome.
It was really good.
The crowd has been wanting ever since like the Rumble. The crowd has been wanting to cheer Bailey as a good guy, and she barely had to say 3 words before the crowd was already chanting for her. But when she talked to Io in Japanese.
Oh, I know. That's something we had talked about the potential of that happening and how powerful that could be. Mm-hmm. And then when she does and was like, hey, I've understood everything you said, all the talking behind my back you've done. Yeah. You don't believe me. All I wanted was for all of us to reach the top of the mountain.
Not
together.
Just one of us. All of us.
Yeah. But you don't believe in me.
Yeah.
And sometimes you gotta face those challenges where people don't believe in you and prove them wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But before she could officially say, at least at first, Io, I choose you, she gets jumped by Kairi and Asuka.
It's such a great moment because when she speaks in Japanese, Io is shocked.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, what? And then as Bailey approaches her even more, Io panics.
Yeah.
And like motions to Asuka and Kairi, who jump Bailey. And Bailey's able to grab a lead pipe that she had hidden, and she takes out the rest of Damage Control, says, Io, and the crowd already started cheering. I'm getting you at WrestleMania, and the crowd blows up.
Yeah.
It was an awesome moment, and Bailey's in that great spot where I think people just appreciate her.
Yeah.
And so now it's like the perfect time for her to go face, take on Io at WrestleMania. I fully expect Bailey to win that. On the other hand, Bailey is also a very selfless wrestler.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't shock me to help get Io up to that next level.
Entirely possible.
That she takes the L there. Not sure if I see that happening, but it's entirely possible. Regardless, this is going to be one of, if not maybe, candidate for best. That's my prediction. Best match on the card.
Match.
Similar to Rhea and Charlotte last year.
Yeah.
This one right here is going to be phenomenal.
I think both the women's title matches, if it ends up being, especially if it ends up being Becky and Rhea, are going to be absolutely phenomenal.
I think they're going to be really, really good. Yeah,
really, really good.
Counter, The Rock doing a leapfrog and just quad coming off bone, just flying.
Yeah, that particular main event bout's not going to be the most exciting one.
It's not. One of the things that I suggest on a Wrestle Juice is they make that a tribal combat match. Because then Rock didn't have to worry about like running ropes.
That's true.
It's
just a brawl.
It's just a brawl, exactly.
And they could make a no DQ thing. Similar to what they did with Stone Cold and Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll actually, assuming the match that's the match.
Mitch.
They'll announce it as a match well in advance.
Yeah.
As opposed to the Stone Cold one where going into WrestleMania you didn't know what you were going to get.
Yeah, right.
And it being match. And it was a lot of fun because it was like, hey, we're just going to fight all over the place. And Stunner, Kevin Owens loses. Speaking of Kevin Owens, show opened up here. Smackdown did with Logan Paul coming to the ring. To, of course, the booze.
Yeah, man. This is a good promo.
It was pretty solid.
He's in that little backstage segment with him and Bianca.
That was really good.
Rarely does somebody have such, like, there's Kevin Owens is one of those guys too. There's like wrestling acting, and then there's like actual comedic timing and real. And Logan Paul was doing that.
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations on your show. Big fan of your husband. Doesn't need to like say it all loud like it's theater.
Yeah.
He understands that they're mic.
When he says, I don't know who I am either.
I don't know him either. That was good. So anyways, he comes out for a promo. He says, Alabama, don't do me like that. I don't want to be here either. This place sucks. Look, I'll be honest with y'all. I underestimated Kevin Owens. I did. Upon first glance, he kind of looks like a pissed off donut. I'm sorry. It's so simple, and I think that's why I laughed at it. A pissed off donut.
Pissed off donut.
He says, but he made me fight, and KO did more damage to Logan Paul than Floyd Mayweather. And I love that because he puts over Kevin Owens.
In stark contrast to what Roman did to Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I know. He says, I'm serious. Kevin made me bleed. Hell, this dude almost knocked me out, and yet he still lost, and I'm still the champ. When is it going to click for y'all? I'm one of the toughest people on this roster. Oh, I hurt my triceps. My little knee hurts. My WrestleMania dreams are crushed. Shut up. We all get hurt. Everyone except me. I'm unbreakable. And they start doing the what, but he rolls with it.
Yeah.
Unreplicable. One of one. The best from the East, the best in the West. I'm your U.S. champ, Logan Paul. If you think, and then he's interrupted by Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens.
So he comes to the ramp and says, I don't know, man. Birmingham seems like a pretty great place to me. Nobody wants to hear from you anymore. See when you're going over all these descriptions of yourself, you forgot unbearable idiot to the list. See, on Saturday, I didn't walk away with the title, Logan, but it was a moral victory because as great as being U.S. champ might be, it feels even better to knock the hell out of you. But now that I've done that a few times, I'm ready to restore a certain level of prestige to the U.S. title, and the first step is taking it off you and getting it sanitized as soon as possible.
Logan responds, I'm glad it felt good to you, Kevin, but I think we can all agree that it's too bad you didn't take advantage of your one and only shot at the title. You see, the brass knuckles were a setup. You took the bait, dummy. I was playing chess. You were playing go fish, son. Face it, I outsmarted you.
So Kevin Owens gets in the ring and says, who do you think you were outsmarting? This may be news to you, but all of these people that have been watching me for almost 10 years know, they all know that Kevin Owens is going to stop at nothing to win a match, okay? Hit somebody from behind? Sure. Use some brass knuckles? Absolutely. The thing is, I got caught. I realize everyone that was mad at the ref for that, but let's be honest. Great job on his part. Ref, you should be proud of yourself. I got caught, and that was my bad. But let me tell you something, Logan.
Let me tell you something, brother.
The next time we get in the ring for that title, you're going to realize I don't need brass knuckles to beat your dumb ass.
Logan says, first up, you smell horrible.
And then Kevin Owens says, I bathed in prime before I came out.
And then Logan says, must not have been cherry freeze. That flavor is delicious. He says, listen to me, Kevin. It's over. You ain't getting a rematch. You blew it. So why don't you go focus on whatever it is you do while I focus on what I do, which is be amazing. I'm going to go find a real challenger, which is definitely not you. So why don't you focus on your match with Austin Theory? I'm going to go talk smack about it on commentary. And then we get Kevin Owens versus Austin Theory.
Yep, which Kevin Owens wins.
More stuff with the brass knuckles in this.
Yeah, because Logan Paul tries to slide Austin Theory some brass knuckles. Kevin Owens gets them, but then Logan Paul gets on the apron to distract the ref, which allows Owens to hit Waller and Theory with the brass knuckles, and he actually hides them this time and pins Theory to get the win. After that, we had a quick shot of Rhea Ripley. She's arriving at the arena. Yeah, she is awaiting Bayley's decision.
She wants to know a decision. And then we have Naomi walking out of Aldis's office. She signed a new contract. She's greeted by Michin, Shotzi, and Bianca, and they're all celebrating. And then Tiffany Stratton exits Aldis's office and says, I'm the center of the universe, and I've also signed a contract with Smackdown. Where's my applause? She steps up to Bianca, says, I'm not afraid to step up to the baddest woman in WWE, and you're going to remember me. And then she slaps me and runs away. And then Aldis walks out of his office. Michin wants a match with Stratton, and Aldis says, yes, bitch.
Yep. Then next, where Bianca's in Aldis's office and says to him, it's a big night for WWE. A big decision is happening, but I want to know, when Bayley chooses to face Rhea for the women's world title, I just want to know what I have to do to face Io for her title. And Aldis says, I'll give you an update on that soon. And that's when Logan Paul steps in.
He's like, hey, Nick, you need to give me a challenger. They're calling me a part-timer. I'm sick of it. I need a challenger. Anyone except Kevin Owens.
And then Bianca goes, we're having a conversation here.
Yeah, me too. Congratulations on love and WWE, by the way. You're excused. Nick, I'm pissed off. They call me a part-timer.
And Bianca says, first off, rude. Second, I don't know who you think you are. And third, go find someone else to play with. Like I said, I'm in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah, I don't know who I think I am either, but whatever this conversation, it's not professional. Nick, if you get your show under control around here and start treating your top stars like top stars, congrats on the reality show, by the way. Big fan of your husband. And then he leaves, and Bianca's just like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
That was good stuff.
Yeah, Logan played that pretty well. It was all pretty understated.
Yeah, exactly. After that, we had this Legado del Fantasma video package. This is very reminiscent of what they do in NXT.
Yeah.
And it seems like we're going to get more of that now with Kevin Dunn out of the way on main roster.
Yeah.
Do you like this stuff?
I do. They like wine. I like wine.
I meant like the presentation.
No, but part of that is they like wine, and I like wine too. So I'm like, okay, we have that in common.
Very good.
I like the presentations. I like the presentation in NXT, and I think it works even better on main roster.
Yeah. I like it. I like it all. I think
even though you don't like wine.
Well, that's not. I'm right now. I'm talking about TV production. I'm looking at the the look of the film.
Well, part of that is the atmosphere, and when you're at a place and you got a nice bottle of wine, you can almost taste the atmosphere.
I'm looking at my dog right now.
Looking at a blanket.
She's so cute.
What's going on there? So anyway, Santos says his heart is filled with joy. In his universe, there's nothing more valuable than family. He welcomes Elektra Lopez back.
Yeah.
Says, we've been entrusted with carrying the legacy of our fathers, grandfathers, brothers, sisters, and the mantle of Lucha Libre itself, which is why we must eradicate the LWO.
I want to know what the latest on the docks is. Remember, she used to work on the docks for Tony D.
I think that's way in the past, dude.
After that, we had Pretty Deadly versus Legado del Fantasma versus the LWO versus Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne.
Wow, Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne just have Pretty Deadly's number. This is 3 times they beat him.
Yeah, well, this time there were 2 more teams there. But
they kind of took each other out of the equation, though.
Yeah, they did. There was a bunch of stuff going on. So, Lopez gets up on the apron to stop a suicide dive from Cruz and Joaquin. And then Zelina Vega shows up, pulls her off. Del Toro and Wild hit suicide dives, and then Vega takes out Lopez with a dive off the apron. Meanwhile, Pete Dunne snaps Wilson's fingers, tags in Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate. They hit a double team Tyler Driver to get the win over, yes, boy, Pretty Deadly.
Yep.
Triple H loves those British strong style guys.
He does. Too bad Trent Seven signed a deal somewhere else, otherwise he might be there too.
Yep.
Then we get Io, Kyrie, and Asuka talking in the locker room.
Talking shit.
Yeah. And Io says, don't worry about it. Bailey's done tonight.
Ooh.
And so they leave, and the doorway behind them, Bailey steps through. She heard it all.
It's like a Arrested Development skit.
It is. Yeah.
It's like George Michael's there.
Yeah. So the next, Bailey makes her decision for WrestleMania.
Yeah, man. So she comes down, grabs a mic. She's got Damage Control with her. And they're all standing behind her being assholes just out in the open. Like, they keep on snickering at things that she says. So she says, when I think about Mania, I've done it all. Almost. I've defended the Raw Women's title, the SmackDown Women's title. I've gone out there with the women's tag titles. I've even hosted the damn thing, but this year is different. This is special. This is different because I didn't get here on my own, and I can admit that. And she keeps on looking back every time that they snicker. She said, I've had a lot of ups and downs. But I wasn't in it alone because I had my girls. I had something I never had before going into WrestleMania. They were here for me. They supported me. They were there for the car rides. They were there when I came back crying to the locker room because this wasn't working out the way I thought it was, or I thought it did. But Damage Control was there for me because Damage Control is more than just the best women's faction of all time. Damage Control is family. So when I think about WrestleMania, I think about moments. When I think about magic, I think about being the best. And to be the absolute best, you have to beat one of the best. And that brings me to Rhea Ripley. So it shows Rhea watching backstage. So Bayley continues. She says, or I can go a different route. I can fight a different fight because sometimes it's not all about having a championship or holding a title. Sometimes it's personal. Sometimes it comes down to what's in your heart and proving people wrong, about proving doubters wrong that didn't think you had what it took to go all the way. Sometimes the people you thought were your biggest support system, the people you thought were wrong, you thought were your friends, sometimes you have to prove them wrong. And Damage Control is looking very, they're like, oh, I don't like this right now. So Bayley steps up to Asuka, Io, and Kairi, says, are you done laughing? And then she says something to them in Japanese. And they freak out. And she's like, yeah, that's Japanese. I picked that up from all the times you talked about me behind my back. You guys think I don't see all around me? Do you know how long I've been here? I've seen it all. I've done it all. You guys talk about me constantly. Why? All I wanted was for Damage Control to be the best. All I wanted was to take this to the top, to Mania. And I wanted to do that together. But you guys see nothing in me, do you? Io, what happened? When you, me, and Dakota started this, we were like this. Ever since they came around, you turn your back on me. What happened? And that's when Io panics and sends Asuka and Kairi after Bayley. They attack her. She's laid out in the corner. She gets a steel pipe and then attacks both Asuka and Kairi with it. Io's about to take a swing with her title right as Bayley's loading up to swing the pipe at her. They both stop it. It's a great image. And then Io rolls out of the ring and joins Asuka and Kairi, and Bayley says, and about that announcement, Io, I'll see you at WrestleMania, brother.
Yep.
It was great. It was awesome.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Then we were supposed to get Final Testament versus Bob Lashley and Street Profits. Of course, they wanted to fight, not have match. So fight is what we got. No match. Ended up where Lashley gets cross in a hurt lock. Scarlett jumps on Lashley's back and starts gouging him in the eyes. B-Fab gets in the ring, gets Scarlett off of Lashley, and then Lashley hits Cross with a spear.
Yeah, and she sort of like tipped him off too, so she's like strategic in there, you know.
Yeah,
it was cool, man. Good for her. That's awesome.
Are they going to give Lashley Street Profits B-Fab faction a name finally?
I know, like, how is it? They were a thing before the Final Testament. Final Testament got a name.
I know.
They need a name. And where's Ashanti Adonis? I thought that he was going to get like an opportunity.
I know.
He was hungry.
I know. All this says, I got the thing in mind for you. I was like, oh, maybe he'll be in the Rumble. Not in the Rumble.
He's like working, working in catering, I guess.
Maybe.
I don't know what the deal with that is.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal with that is. Anyways, you got Braun Breaker. Yeah,
Braun Breaker. I'm talking to Nick Aldis backstage. So Braun looks over his contract. I can't read. And then Aldis like, dude, all you have to do is sign. He's like, yeah, but I don't know what this is. And then Pierce steps in and says, don't put pen to paper until you see what I offer on Monday. And Aldis like, you reek of alcohol. And Pierce is like, hey, man, this is just business. Takes a swing. I'm just fantasy booking this myself.
Yeah.
Braun tells Aldis he'll hold on to the contract. And Pierce says, I'll see you on Monday.
No, he says to Pierce, I'll see you Monday.
Oh, yeah, that's what he says. And then he leaves, and Aldis and Pierce kind of bicker a little bit. He's like, what are you doing? And then Jade Cargill walks in. She's like, is this a good time? And he's like, oh, it's a great time. And then he's like, Pierce, you need to leave. And Pierce started to say something. He's like, I mean now. And then Pierce says, hey, Jade, watch this guy. He's got an attitude. He's mixing it up.
Yeah.
Walking in there, booze on his breath. My goodness gracious.
My goodness.
It's Friday, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Pierce starting his weekend early, I guess. Huh? Then we got Tiffany Stratton taking on Mia Yim. Tiffany Stratton's, I believe, SmackDown in-ring debut. She got the W here, hitting the moonsault. Fun match. I wish they would have given a little more time, but it was still a solid bout. And they had Mia Yim get plenty of her stuff in.
Yep.
Good bout. Good match.
Yeah, really good stuff. Yeah, the moonsault's always tricky, man. My one thing about the moonsault, hers is a beautiful moonsault, but it's when you overshoot a little bit and all you do, you get your arms on the person.
I know.
And everybody who's got a moonsault does it.
Yeah, it happens from time to time.
After that, we had the whole segment with
Roman and Cody.
So that. Roman comes out, acknowledge me. He says,
he just eviscerates Seth Rollins, the World Heavyweight title.
Pretty much calls him little brother. And he mentions Rollins, and the crowd is just sort of waiting for Roman to say something. He said, exactly, no pop, which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
He said he's got the title. He says, so I had to think about it. Didn't I beat everybody competing for that title? Doesn't that make them all my number twos? Shouldn't we call that the loser bracket title? Oof. Yeah, that was pretty rough. Then he had the audacity to say that he was the guy. You can't be running around here for 2 years in your wife's clothes and say you're the guy. I do love his shitty laugh.
I know.
Then he wants to say he's a workhorse, but 3 months in, he broke his back trying to carry that show. Do workhorses walk like this? And he does a little fake walk. He says, hell no. Then he wants to attack my schedule. I work less than you. That's true. I work 10 times less than you, but I still make 10 times more than you. So I'll ask y'all, do you want Seth Rollins money or Tribal Chief money? Larson, let me ask you something. What do you want?
Oh, if I can work 10 times less and make 10 times more, give me
Tribal Chief
money.
No lies are told. No. He says, Cody, he's an idiot. He's got, as he's about to prove.
Yeah.
He says, he's got values and all that crap. He doesn't care about the money, I don't think, so I'm going to break it down to him in very simple math here.
Yeah.
Cody, I'm not going to beg you like those...
that other guy.
He says, you can either be the very best number 2 in this industry, or you can take a crack at number 1 again. It's your choice.
So then Cody makes his way to the ring, but we got a commercial break, so he doesn't get into the ring till after commercial break.
This is like a half-hour segment.
He's milling around ringside for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So then he gets in the ring, finally asks Heyman for the mic and says, so, Birmingham, Alabama, Roman Reigns, what do we want to talk about? I imagine this conversation to be a little more private, so if you'll indulge me, perhaps we can have the ring to ourselves, Roman tells Jimmy and Solo to leave. So Cody continues, and they do leave. Says, so I took a great deal of counsel this week. I talked to friends, to family, to legends. You cheated me. I had you more than anybody that you've been in the ring with, and I think you know it. Seth Rollins, he made a lot of amazing points this week. No, he didn't. But one of them I disagree with, all of them, is he called that the Hollywood title. You can call it whatever you want, but it's still the title that Bruno held. It's still the title that was put in my father's hands at Madison Square Garden and swiftly taken away. I still want that title, but let me ask you. What is finishing the story? Because I've heard you say that all of this is yours. The ring, the canvas, the ropes, the announce desk, all these people. You all belong to Roman Reigns, apparently. So is finishing the story taking that title for you, or is finishing the story? Yeah, it is. Taking everything from you. Let me make it clear. I want that title. Matter of fact, I'm moving my goalposts. I want that title. I want everything, and I am coming for you. I am coming for you, Roman Reigns, but... Not at WrestleMania.
Ooh.
I mentioned taking counsel. Roman, one of the individuals I talked to, he knows you very well. Everybody knows it's The Rock at that point, so The Rock's music hits. He comes to the ring. He and Cody have this awkward thing where Cody's all forlorn and dejected and then has to fake a smile when The Rock says something and walks away forlorn and dejected, which apparently they cut a lot of that out when they uploaded the clip to YouTube.
Yeah, they've been doing WWE, and I honestly think social media's job is to get social media numbers, and people sometimes read too much into, oh, are they signaling something right now? Is something happening right now? Because they did a segment where it was Cody announces his plans for WrestleMania or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's well, okay. So I don't know. Do you buy that the deepest people in creative are hey, social, do this?
I don't know what motivates social to cut particular things out. How does cutting Cody being dejected out advance the idea that he's making his decision? I guess maybe they want to get the clip under a certain amount of time.
Well, okay, so there was the Rock Roman confrontation. That was its own clip.
They just stood there, though.
Yeah, and then there was... Yeah, I know. Well, okay, so from what I saw, they had they uploaded all 18 minutes from Cody's entrance. No, from Roman being in the ring, I think.
Yeah.
Up until the end. And that was in its entirety.
All right.
And then I think they did another video of just Cody, but I didn't catch what that was because Sean tweeted it out. He was they put this thing up. So I don't know.
I think it was just the Cody one where they clipped out the stuff of him being all upset about stuff,
all sad about things.
So eventually Cody leaves, all super dejected. He's bummed out. So that leaves Rock and Roman at opposite sides of the ring, and they eventually get a little bit closer and a little bit closer until they're face to face, and then they have the little graphic up and says they're gonna have a press event in Vegas on Thursday.
So let's see if any of WWE's YouTube channel can clue us in onto what plans are for Mania.
Well, they have a thing about Seth and Cody's rivalry.
They do. They have a playlist of Seth and Cody's epic rivalry history. A SmackDown segment from 2019 where Becky Lynch slaps Triple H.
Interesting.
Okay. That's when she was trying to get into that main event match.
That's true.
As a triple threat.
That's true.
Let's see here. A lot of Vengeance Day stuff. I'm trying to find anything that's just related to. Okay, here we go. A 3-minute, 11-second clip. Cody Rhodes lays out WrestleMania plans for Roman Reigns. So I'm assuming this is okay. So this is Cody talking to Rock. Rock comes in and they have their face off. So it's just Cody's okay, let's see here. Rock comes out.
There's Rocky.
This is what they cut out. Oh, this is what they cut out.
Yeah, the Rock just gets in the ring and Cody teleports out.
Okay, so that's that one. And then that went up yesterday.
Did they put the full thing up initially and then take it down?
SmackDown's okay. No, the full segment's still there.
All right.
4.7. And this is the one. So it's at 4.7 million views right now. And as of Saturday afternoon, it was at it was at 400,000 dislikes.
Yeah.
Versus like 80,000 likes.
Yeah.
It was WWE's most disliked. I had no idea they have a Google Chrome extension. Wow. Where you can look at dislikes.
Wow.
Because I was like, how the hell do they know this? And then I looked up on the internet how to do it. And it was like Google Chrome, and then it just shows it to you.
Because they hide them. Yeah.
It shows you everything. So that's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Interesting.
And then the Rock and Roman Reigns face off after SmackDown goes off the air. It's literally just Roman holding up the title.
Yeah.
I think.
I know Rock dropped a promo afterward, but it's probably not included on there.
Oh, did he? Because this is 5 minutes long. Maybe there's something in here. Oh, did Rock say something? Oh,
yeah,
Rock
He's
said
talking.
stuff.
The Rock said.
The Rock said.
The Rock said.
The Rock, know your damn role.
And shut your mouth.
My favorite thing are like the memes of people saying like, yeah, you know, Cody's promos to the Rock to Roman will be like all eloquent and shit, and the Rock will be like, Roman Reigns, your butthole smells.
Yeah,
get out of here,
I know.
Douchebag Roman. Everybody say douchebag Roman.
I know. It's gonna be
Rudy Poo Roman.
It could be painful, man.
I honestly like, so clearly this is a story, if they go this route, that can have so much depth and history behind it. I say if you're going to do this, go all the way, have Rock be Rock, and just be completely juvenile.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, look at your red shoes. It looks like Fruity Pebbles, you know? A bunch of stupid shit that.
Just maximum like the bad insult Rock. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to see. Low-hanging fruit heading into Mania 40.
Oh, it's going to be painful, man.
Like,
it's going to be painful. It's going to be so painful.
Yeah. All right. So there was also a collision.
I had to watch this with no power on my phone, so unfortunately I couldn't take notes past the middle of John Moxley's promo.
Well, I've got you covered because I've got notes right here. I cannot write anymore.
It's hard to write because I'm not used to it. I write like more than a sentence.
Look at these.
I know my handwriting's terrible.
It's so bad.
And it hurts to write. My hand cramps up like after 2 sentences. It's tough.
My handwriting is so awful.
So we'll run through this quickly. It was a fun enough Dynamite. I thought all the matches were really good.
Collision.
So yes, collision. We got 2 women's matches.
We did have 2 women's matches.
And of course, Queen Aminata, even though she lost, hell of a performance.
Yeah, it was a really good
She's
match.
really good.
Yeah,
She's amazing.
Red Velvet got the win here, too.
But she's going to lose to Toni Storm on Dynamite.
Yeah, it's just to set up a loss here. You know, Ring of Honor talent. Also, Ring of Honor talent, Brian Keith signed. He's officially All Elite.
Yeah.
You know, something bothers me about them springing that on people. You know, I get it. I understand. It's, you know, hey, congratulations. You're going to be making some more money. You're part of AEW now. But like whenever I've heard that, like, oh, the wrestlers just find that out in the moment, on one hand, I'm like, oh, that's cool. On the other hand, I'm like, and look, WWE have done the same thing before. I'm like, shouldn't there be like some sort of there's a power play there that bothers me.
Well, here's another thing.
Like they can't go backstage and be like, hey, we want you to sign now. All right, let's deal. You know?
Here's another thing about that, though. It's not like Tony Khan can sign the contract with his name and automatically Brian Keith is all elite. Brian Keith has to sign that.
Yeah, I know.
So the assumption that the graphic goes up, hey, you got an official contract offer, assuming this is a situation where this is all sprung on people when they find out in ring. What if someone sees that and is like, I don't want to sign.
I know, exactly.
Then what happens then?
Exactly. It's like a marriage proposal
exactly.
in public.
Exactly.
It's like, we're supposed to say no? Brian Keith is like, oh, great. You know, hey, does this mean that I'm going to do less jobs now? Because that's like all I do on TV is just jobs.
I know.
That's what Mr. Dope called him. He said, my guy is a really popular jobber, isn't he?
Yeah, he didn't beat Eddie Kingston on Collision either.
No, and this wasn't even for the title. It was an eliminator match.
Eliminator match, I know.
It was like, hey, if you win this, you have a good shot at getting an actual title match.
Yeah, I know.
Good match, really good match.
Yeah, all the Brian Keith match has been really good. He has impressed in all of his losses on AEW television. Now that he's signed, hopefully that means he'll get some wins.
That dude's a popular jobber.
So Eddie ends up hitting a back fist to win that. Shivani gets in the ring to interview Eddie, and Eddie's more like, Brian Keith with the challenge. Lois rules, go talk to Bounty Hunter, not me. And that's when Shivani says, hey, you're all elite now. Yeah. And so Eddie goes and shakes Brian Keith's hands, and Brian Danielson rushes to the ring to take Eddie's moment. And kind of Brian Keith's moment, too. Yeah, it's kind of great. But it's fitting with Danielson's character, I suppose. And he walks up to Keith, shakes his hand, and raises his arm. Yeah. And then we get Hechicero. It's like, Eddie, you're not the guy to crown people around here. That's what I'm Eddie, you're but a bum. Yeah. Now this is real because I'm doing it. Exactly. Yeah, it's good. And so we got a Mox promo after that where he's like, hey, CML Luchadors, that's who you are. This is almost like Dean Ambrose-esque Mox here. You could tell he wasn't taking this seriously. No, and he was like, they come in here. They think that this is that other channel. That other promotion. Lazy American wrestlers. And it's like, what? Why? Why are you doing that, Mox? Yeah. But no, we're the Blackpool Combat Club. We're the elite and all elite. Yeah. I'm like, you're not the elite. No. I don't know what else he said. That was pretty much the gist of it, though. Yeah. Then we had a really fun match, Brian Danielson versus Hechicero. Yeah. His entrance was great. Had fire involved in it. Yeah, he had fire. That was great. He's a magician, apparently, an illusionist. Said he was cleansing the ramp. That's what commentary said. That's cool. Some Lysol on it. Well, no, it was fire. Yeah, no, but, maybe beforehand, It was great. It was cool. He had this thing where I think they were like they were rocks on fire. Yeah. And he put them down the ramp and did something, and so the fire... Mox should have come out with like a fire extinguisher and put it out. Said, it's elite fire extinguisher. He didn't do that though. With a big like gimmick hat. There you go. No, it's the plastic ones they give out to the kids when they do the. They bring the fire truck to the school. Plastic fireman badge. Exactly. I like that. So, anyways, we had Danielson versus Hechicero. This was really, really, really good. Yeah, this was cool. Apparently, Danielson really wanted this match, I guess. And stars of CMLL we're getting introduced to. That's cool. Yeah. And fun stuff here. Danielson of course barely won. Yeah, that was cool. He got the win here. How did he get the win? This is a roll up. Yeah, it's a roll up. Didn't make Hechicero a tap out. No, and if anything, Nigel especially was really pushing the idea that Hechicero was out wrestling the greatest wrestler in the world. And a lot of this he was. He definitely was. Yeah. So they got that 6-man tag match. You got Blackpool Combat Club versus the Stars of CMLL. Stars of CMLL. Yeah. You got to assume the Stars of CMLL wins that one, don't you? Oh, God, no. What? No. They should. Danielson won this one. Claudio could take a pin to Volador Jr. Yeah. Well, yeah. In a solo match, that's going to happen. If Wheeler Yuta was in the 6-man tag, then I'd say for sure. The 6-man tag, totally Blackpool. But they'll do like a Rampage match where Claudio will eat a pin or Wheeler will eat a pin. Wheeler would be the one to eat the pin. Yeah. And then we had an interview with Daniel Garcia, FTR, DG FTR. And they're like asked, hey, is this like a formal trios? It's like, hey, do you want to be my girlfriend? That type thing. That's exactly what it is.
And he's like, "Hey, dog, you know, I don't know what I'm gonna do here. You know, maybe I want to do it. A lot of people want to see it. A lot of people don't want to see it. Maybe people want to see it. I don't know.
Maybe get some matching gear.
You know, maybe get some matching gear. Maybe we won't get some matching gear. I don't know." And then they ask Cash, and he's equally as non-committal.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, you asked me. I didn't know we were gonna be here." And then they asked Dax, like, I don't know. I like it though. I like being aligned with one of the hot young stars of the wrestling these days. I like it. I think it's good. And then, so that was that.
That was that.
Yeah. And then we had Hook defeating both Outrunners.
So during the Danielson-Hechicero match, the commentary made a point of saying Hook's in the building and wants to wrestle, and he'll take on
Doesn't care who.
two competitors if necessary. And those two competitors were Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd.
Yeah. Great names. Great look. Love those guys.
Lost.
They need to be eating those. They need to be winning matches, man.
They should.
They really should
They
be.
had palm trees on their pants.
I know. They're cool as hell. Hook comes out. The dude looks like he's $150, if that. And these guys are big buff dudes.
Massive jacked guys, yeah.
Like, I can only suspend my disbelief so much, man.
I know.
Honestly.
I know.
He looks like a child. So anyways, he beats the Outrunners.
He chokes one of them out to Red Rum. I can't remember which one.
If this is a tornado, like they should have been like, "Oh, you really want to take two dudes on the same time? Tornado this shit and see what happens."
No
Get your ass
DQ.
kicked.
I know.
Whoop your ass.
Yeah.
Anyways, after that, we had Mark Briscoe in a really long interview
To set up a feud with House of Black.
and then House of Black interrupt, and they're like, "You like magic tricks? Look at this!" And then like the lights go off. And they come back on. He's like, "See, look what I did.
I'm already in your head.
I'm already in your head by turning off the lights. Maybe, Mark, you can give me a singles match or no?"
Tony Khan interjects. No, afraid not. Can't do that.
I don't think so. Sorry, pal.
Mark's wrestling Buddy Matthews.
It's gotta be a story in House of Black. Like,
Why is it I'm the only one who doesn't get singles matches? Single tier for a single match.
after that, Serena Deeb versus Queen Aminata.
They gave this match quite a bit of time.
Tony Khan foolishly not taking our advice to stop making Queen Aminata take losses.
She should win every match.
She should. Look at you. See her presentation? 10.
10.
Wrestling skill 10.
She's really good.
I haven't heard a promo because they're not putting on her mic. Maybe she's a one promo. I don't know.
Even that, she shouldn't be losing matches.
Yeah. Deep, but it was a good match, though.
That being said, it was a really good match, and they gave it some time. So.
Yeah, they did. Serenity Lock. Serenity Now Lock.
Serenity Now Lock, yes.
Yeah, for Queen Aminata. Then we had a Swerve interview, and he's like basically saying, "Hangman, you keep on talking about how I need help to win. So, nah. Mm-hmm. You need to, if you're going to be at ringside, no interference.
Yep.
I don't want nobody messing with this match. So, Hangman, no excuses." Yeah, so that's going to be a good match. So, does that tell you when they're going to wonk this finish? They're going to wonk it.
Probably.
They're going to wonk it.
Probably.
Then we had a great Tony Storm video package. She's going to do a public workout.
Yeah.
On Dynamite, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had Red Velvet versus Vert Vixen. Red Velvet won that match, and that means she gets in on...
she had an eliminator match against Tony on Dynamite.
Is it against Tony?
Yeah.
Oh, it's an eliminator match. Okay, yeah, that makes sense because that's against champions. Okay. And then we had the Patriarchy versus DGFTR.
This is a really fun match.
Christian Cage, Nick Wayne, and Luchasaurus.
Kill Switch, Steve.
Kill Switch versus DGFTR. And then DG got the win here for his team.
Yeah, it was a good match.
What did you think of FTR dancing afterwards?
Honestly, I saw the outcome. I saw Daniel Garcia put his hands up, start dancing. I was like, all right. I assumed Collision was over, so I didn't see Dax and Cash.
They were doing it. Dax did it probably as good as I could do it, to be honest with you.
What about Cash?
I don't know. I'm usually just transfixed by Dax.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. It looked like Pudding doing the dance. Which again would be the same as me, Uncoordinated pudding.
Wow.
Anyways, would you like to answer some questions? Oh, cool. My mom passed. My mom is like, I don't know, old. She's like, what, 60 old. And they had her do a written driving test.
Oh.
She passed.
That's good.
Today. So good for her. Congratulations, Mom, here.
Congratulations.
For passing your driver's exam. Do you think you'd be able to pass that without any prep if I just sprung it on you?
No.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to either.
No, I'm sure I drive all wrong. I'm pretty sure of that.
I'm like, why would they put poor old people through that?
I know. You cross double yellow lines, right?
Yeah, as long as you're going 70 miles an hour, you do. You have to boost to 70 miles an hour before you
Perfect
cross.
driver then.
Let's see. Oh my God, what
There's
a
a lot of
massive
questions.
question thread.
We got a lot of questions here. So, oh, shoot. Frozen Tape asks, when Roman turns babyface, would you turn Cody heel to be his foil? Absolutely not. No, Cody's babyface.
Cody babyface.
Cody's gonna be babyface perpetuity until otherwise given notice that he's going to turn heel. No.
Yep. Let's see here. Dave Matushek says, with Corey Graves now doing playback, how'd you think of Corey and
I thought he was fine. I thought Corey and Wade were fine.
I thought they were good. With Corey Graves now doing play-by-play, how much longer will it be until possible heel tendencies come out? I think he's a professional. He knows what he's doing. I don't think he's going to do that unless he's
given directives to do that.
To do it.
Yep. Andre Zimpel says, do you think The Rock will get go-away heat for what happened this Friday? There's a portion of the fan base. It's The Rock. They'll cheer for him.
It's Pavlovian with that theme song. If you're live in person and you see The Rock, you're going to be happy. I'd be kind of surprised. Well, Philadelphia is a different story.
Yeah.
Kind of depends on the market, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Shatz Production says, we're going to see a triple threat night 2 of Mania. I think they're going to try to bull their way through it until I see otherwise.
I will say the triple threat's more likely than Roman wrestling both night 1 and night 2.
Oh, you think so, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. That could be.
I think so. High Plains Drifter says, Cody finishes his story at WrestleMania against Seth, and then Cody goes on to unify it all and announces... Wait.
What?
Oh, that's not a question. Trap here says, who would be a good feud for Jinder? Maybe Lashley after he stomps the Final Testament?
I think the Final Testament versus Jinder and his dudes would be a good feud.
That would be good. I think
would
that'd be
like
a lot
that.
of fun.
Because, like, who would even win that? My heart would be with Jinder.
Yeah, Final Testament would probably win that, though.
KMR says, as someone who bought tickets to 39 expecting to see Rock versus Reigns, I'm jealous of those who are going to WrestleMania 40. But then that might turn if they do pivot. So you might not be jealous anymore.
That's true. Luis here says, do you think people are jumping the gun on Rock Roman considering the face-off or even this Monday's Raw hasn't happened yet? I mean, I guess nothing's been officially announced, but you see the stare down, and it's a pretty strong indication of what where they're heading, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If they pivot at the press event on Thursday, then...
I love this question, Larson. Coach John Pliskin. Let's pause here for a moment and really consider this question, because I'm going to piggyback here.
All right.
He says Brian Goertz and Rock with Brian Goertz and Rock theories in a bundle. What? The question is, how could a Rock-led creative go? And I'm actually gonna double up on this one and say, let's book WrestleMania if it's the Rock's dream card. So we obviously know Rock,
Roman, Rock wins.
Roman, Rock wins. I'll throw this one out there. Rhea Ripley versus Ava. Ava wins.
Ava wins, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're up next.
Wow.
I'll throw another one out
Sure. You've been thinking about this.
Main event Jey Uso
Yeah.
versus Seth.
Jey Uso wins.
Main event Jey Uso wins.
How about Jimmy Uso versus versus Logan Paul?
Logan Paul.
Jimmy Uso wins.
Jimmy Uso wins.
Solo
retires
Randy Orton.
Wow, retires Randy. Okay, Solo wins that.
Jacob Fatu debuts, defeats Gunther.
Jacob Fatu wins. I'm going to do this one now. We'll do Rikishi comes out of retirement for one of those Bret Hart WrestleMania 2010 matches against Cody.
Wow.
Rikishi wins.
Wow.
That's the big attraction match right there. Rikishi wins that. Tamina.
Yeah.
versus Io.
Yeah.
Tamina wins that.
Yeah. Oh, Nia Jax has to be on the card.
Nia Jax, the cousin. Nia Jax versus
Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch. There you go.
Even though she already beat Becky. Wins again.
Wins again. Wins again.
Wins again.
And then, of course, both Usos versus Judgment Day. Usos win the tag titles.
Yeah.
And
reunite for some reason.
Yeah. And then we'll also do Mick Foley. You know what, Mick Foley? Because he's good friends with Rock.
And he wants to have one more match.
Mick Foley versus Damian Priest for Money in the Bank.
There we go. Mick Foley goes over.
Mick Foley wins. And then he hands the Money in the Bank briefcase to, well, everybody has all the titles now. So, he'll retire the Money in the Bank briefcase.
There we go.
The dynasty is renewed. We booked it.
We did it.
Well done, everybody.
We did it.
Well done.
Michael Mendez says, since it looks like we're getting Cody, Seth, and Rock Roman, what will be the men's chamber match, and what will the winner get?
What will be the... Fuck, I don't know. I mean, are they going to do the U.S. title? Logan Paul said he's going to be at the chamber.
Maybe because Logan says he needs new challengers. Maybe it's a situation where, like, you want new challengers? How about 5 of them?
Man, that's so bunk for freaking...
That's what they did last year, wasn't it? They did the U.S. title, not last year, the year before.
Yeah, but no, there was no, like, locality buying the
No,
pay-per-view.
I know.
Like, this is the... I don't know what... maybe Rock will show up in Perth just to add value to it, you know?
Cody will be there.
Cody will be there. Let's see here. Real TJP says, do you see Trick Williams being called up already? He's got a feud big time with Carmelo.
Yeah.
And then he'll probably win the title after that.
Yeah. Though I imagine Mello and Trick's feud will probably blow off at Stand Deliver.
Yeah.
Mello will then get the full-time call-up, and then Trick will go after the NXT title again after that and probably win it.
You're probably right about that.
Brendan Monroe asked, could Mello and Trick's feud rise to the levels of Gargano Ciampa in NXT and possibly even exceed it?
I think that's the plan. I think they want to do that.
I think so too.
Let's see. Okay. Reaper says, is a heel turn better when it's built up over time or when it happens out of nowhere?
See, Drew McIntyre. That should be the template. It should happen organically. It shouldn't be one day that someone wakes up, gets out of bed, and decides to be evil.
I do think that a breaking point, like a singular catalyst moment.
There's got to be a motivating incident.
But there's got to be a build to that moment.
Yeah,
I agree with that totally. Or you know what's maybe even preferable is that when the clues are all there, so the sudden heel turn makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So you don't see it coming.
Yeah.
In which case, I guess the latter would work. Let's see here.
Cat Dad 7 asks here, if you could have one wrestler deliver you bad news, who would it be?
If I could have one wrestler deliver me bad news, I don't know. It seemed like Rock did a pretty good job with Cody the other day.
I mean, it seemed like Cody tried his best to deliver some bad news to the fans too.
Yeah. You know, nobody likes bad news. So in which case, I'd probably go with Scarlett.
Okay.
Michael Scalmanini says, with Cody out, what would be a satisfying conclusion to Roman Rock? Probably like Rock tries a leapfrog, can't stand up. Snoop Dogg comes in.
No, that's when they call the audible and have Cody come out.
Yeah.
He still gets to
honestly,
finish the
like the fucking wrestle, like having Rock get like beat up by the bloodline. Cody comes out and Rock says, "Go ahead and take my match," like WrestleMania 9, but Cody gets to be Hogan.
Yeah,
that's my preferred way.
That'd be something.
We didn't talk about this shit. The Rossi Ogawa stuff.
Oh.
It seems like a lot, but it also doesn't seem like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, we're not well versed in the politics of Stardom.
True.
And so I've seen some stuff that seems like it might be more rumor and conjecture versus something that might be more substantial, and that's why I didn't put it in the notes.
Yeah.
So the official statement is that he was trying to poach Stardom talent. To what end? That's what seems to be kind of up in the air, depending on who says what.
Yeah, right.
So until we get a more concrete version of the story, I was like, let's hold off on that.
Apparently Tony Khan was no fan of him because
That seemed pretty evident as soon as that news broke. Wow.
he was like keeping him from going to AEW or something. And I'm like, it's probably not a terrible idea to keep him from going to AEW because he'll be stuck in catering. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Anyways. So yeah, I don't know. If that develops into like a beefier situation, but like everything I saw about it was like, oh wow, this sounds big, but like I don't really see what the major thing is. Like I guess if you're a diehard Stardom fan, or if you're really into Stardom, then I guess it's sort of a big deal. But
Yeah.
the name of this podcast, Larson, is Steven Larson's Going in Raw Pro Wrestling WWE and AEW podcast.
You got the name wrong, but good
Something
enough.
like that. What is it? WWE and
Stephen
AEW?
Larson's Going in Raw WB and AEW podcast. It's right here.
Steven Larson's Going in Raw. How many subs are we at now?
We're 12 away.
Oh, 12 away.
12 away as the recording of the show.
All right. Well, anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate it. Thanks for making the drive.
Oh, I'll probably have to do it again tomorrow.
Probably, because that power situation is something else.
Oh, it's bad.
Anyways, thanks for watching. Till next time, we'll see you around.
Goodbye.